everybody, it's Ann Taylor Pittman with Cooking Light. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I have a really fun recipe to share with you. It is perfect for fall. It is perfect for people who are looking to maybe cut back on the carbs while still enjoying the pleasures of great comfort food. It is a butternut squash and spinach lasagna where butternut takes the place of pasta. So I have some of the squash here that I've already prepped. So what I did, you want to look for a squash that has kind of a long neck. This one, the neck has already been cut off because it's right here. Look for one with kind of a long neck. You want to peel the squash and then cut it into 1/8 inch slices. I did lengthwise slices because I had a mandolin. I love to work with a mandolin. If you don't have one, it doesn't matter. You can cut rounds. So, you know, just peel your squash. I'm just going to demo a few here. If you want to have rounds as your lasagna noodles instead of the planks. Either way works fine. We're working with a 20-ounce squash, and you just want enough of the butternut slices to create layers in your casserole dish. Okay, so if I'm cutting this by hand and not using a mandolin, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off a little piece off the side to create a flat surface so it's not rolling all over the place for safety. You want about 1/8 inch thick slices. This is easier to do on a mandolin, but not too hard doing it by hand. So either round or lengthwise. You can cut lengthwise slices by hand also. I just find it's a little tricky to go that far down the dense squash. I'm just going to cut a few more because I'm actually going to layer these into lasagna. I'm doing this, technically, what you need to do is you need to par cook these, put them in a bowl, or actually you can save a dish and put them in your 8-inch square casserole dish and microwave them for a few minutes just to start the cooking process and get them sort of softened. I just dropped the squash. Okay, there, butternut down, or as we like to say in the studio, butternut. That's our joke for today. Yeah, you're welcome. You can say that too, and it makes it sound a little fancier, right? Okay, so I have the squash going there. Now I have a saute pan or skillet that I'm heating up. I'm adding a little bit of canola oil. You can also use olive oil if you'd like, just to kind of coat the bottom of the pan. I should have been heating my pan up already. I have 1.5 cups of vertically sliced red onion. Vertically sliced just means from pole to pole or from root to stem. Just creates pretty slices, prettier slices that are a little bit easier to deal with. And then 1.5 tablespoons of sliced garlic. No sizzle. I should have heated up my pan. Should have had it heating. I hate that when you add something or when I add something and there's no sizzle. My pan's not quite hot enough. It'll get there. So we're just going to cook that. Let me turn the heat up. Just going to cook that until the onion softens and then add in some fresh spinach. It's 6 ounces of baby spinach that I'm going to add in just a minute. So while the onions are cooking, or starting to cook, onions and garlic, let me get the sauce going. So noodles, filling, and then sauce. Okay, this is really cute, right? We love this pink blender. I'm kind of excited I get to use it because, you know, cute kitchen appliances are great. Okay, so in this blender, I'm going to add some fat-free Greek yogurt. This is 3/4 cup. It's going to add that wonderful tang, a little bit of body and thickness to the sauce. So this is obviously a white sauce lasagna, very non-traditional because we're using squash instead of noodles. Okay, and then 1/3 cup of 1% milk. And then 3 ounces of sliced provolone cheese. It usually comes pre-sliced, like for sandwiches. If you can find a block of provolone, you can shred it. That might make it a little easier, but we're just tearing this cheese into pieces. Onions and garlic are going now. It smells good in here. Okay.
And we have a whole bunch of people saying hi. We've got Tina from the Azores. We've got Jeanette from Newfoundland.
Wow.
Melinda from Connecticut.
Great.
Anu from New Jersey. and Susan from Michigan.
Hi, you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate you guys watching. I hope you get some fun ideas here. Please ask questions as we go along. I may not always know the answers, and in fact, a lot of times I don't, but we can get back to you if I don't. Okay, so I have yogurt, milk, and the cheese here in this blender. And I'm just gonna blend that up real quick. Nice. So I just want everything to get incorporated. I want that cheese to sort of break down a little bit. Perfect. And then to that, I'm going to add a tablespoon and a half of flour. If you want to make this gluten-free, you can try it with 2 teaspoons of cornstarch. The texture gets a little bit different, but you can definitely go with the cornstarch. A teaspoon of kosher salt. That's the only salt we're using, but it's going to flavor the entire lasagna. And 2 large eggs. Okay, the eggs are going to kind of help give the sauce more body as it cooks and help everything come together. Okay, let me give this a stir. Almost ready to add the spinach to it. Honestly, guys, I don't know if there's a better smell in the world than onions and garlic sauteing. Okay, just blend this up. Okay, perfect. Okay, sauce is ready, noodles are ready, filling is just about there. I'm going to start adding spinach a little bit at a time and just tossing it around until it wilts. I love the color of these onions. You could definitely use any onion you have on hand, yellow onions or white onions. The red onions just have a nice presence. They don't disappear into the sauce because, you know, the color helps them stand out. You could also use a different green if you'd like. If you're a baby kale fan or a Lasagna kale fan, that would definitely work well here. For something a little earthier, you could go with a Swiss chard. Basically, any green will work. So this is a vegetarian dish. Because it has eggs and cheese, it is not vegan, but it is vegetarian. And it's really hearty and delicious. Okay, doesn't take long for the spinach to wilt. I'm just about ready to start assembling. Okay, this is going into an 8-inch square casserole dish. You could use a glass dish or ceramic. Cook time and temperature will be the same either way. Okay, I think that's good there. Okay, so like I said, it is time to start assembling. Now, I have here, it's another part of my filling. This is 1 cup of part skim ricotta cheese. Okay, so that's going to go in as well. Okay, so let me clear my workspace here. 8-inch square dish. I've sprayed it with some cooking spray. You could just rub it down with oil if you'd rather. I'm going to start layering these guys in. So those of you in the studio who might eat this later, just know the bottom slices might have a little more bite to them than others. Okay, I just want to get a good layer. Sorry, I did this earlier. Back up. I need to put a little bit of sauce down in the dish. Like you would with a traditional lasagna, usually you put a little layer of sauce down there. Now let me add my first layer. You can overlap the squash as needed, just to get a nice even layer in the bottom. Okay. And then I need 1/3 of the ricotta, so it's going to be a thin layer. Just kind of spread it out a little bit. The good thing with the lasagna is once it cooks, everything just sort of finds its way and sort of settles into place, so you don't have to be too precise when you're actually layering. Okay. And then 1/3 of this. So in the pan, I'm just going to kind of make 3 zones roughly so that each layer gets about the same amount. See how pretty? Love it. Okay. And then let me go over another layer of my noodles, my butternut or butternut, as we're going to say.
And we have a question. Is there something you could use besides ricotta cheese? Is there something else?
Yes, absolutely. So if you want just like a melty, sort of gooey cheese, you could use a part skim mozzarella, just shred it up and use it in the layers. If you want something really sort of indulgent, you could use a cream cheese. I would maybe mix an egg into that cream cheese because it might get a little too gooey in here. But definitely, I would recommend using a cheese just to get some nice richness in there. Okay. More. You guys, this smells so good. I love these onions, a lot of onions. It's funny, my kids, they actually, if the onions are cooked and they're soft, they love onions. I was not quite that adventurous when I was a kid, so I count myself very lucky that they appreciate melty onions. Okay. Oh.
Oh, and we have another comment.
Great.
Matthew wants you to know you're the best person ever.
Thank you, Matthew. I appreciate that. Don't make me cry on camera. Okay. Much love, much love. Any of y'all watching, I really appreciate you guys. Okay. Last layer here. I may not use all of my squash. Let's see. Let me shingle this guy with one more. Okay. Yeah, that's about right. And then let me do the last layer of spinach and onions. No. Gosh, you guys, bear with me. If you're doing this at home, the ricotta needs to go on. You know what? It could go on top of the spinach, but it's just a little bit harder to spread it out. So I'm removing the spinach. Let me do this. Okay. It's live, folks. I make mistakes. But it's still going to taste great. It's all going in together, and it's all baking up together, and it finds its way, kind of like me. Okay, now I can put on this last bit of spinach and onions, which looks great. Then I'm going to pour over the last of the sauce. It's going to seep down in between all the layers and create that ooey gooey richness. Okay, so here goes the sauce. The sauce again has eggs, yogurt, cheese, milk, and some salt. That's looking good. One final step. Okay, so butternut is wonderful and sweet. The spinach has a little bit of earthiness. The onion adds that savory note. And then this is some aged Gruyere. So we have some Gruyere cheese that's going to bring nutty richness. A little bit of that. So it's only, how much is it? 1.5 ounces. When you grate it on a microplane, it feels like a lot more because it creates like snowy cheese, cheese snow, fluffy cheese, and it feels like a lot more. Okay, so I'm just going to cover this. My oven is at 350 degrees. I have some foil that I've coated with some spray. I always do that because I hate the idea of my cheese sticking to my foil. I'm going to cover this up. It bakes at 350 for 50 minutes. Okay. There we go. 350 for 50 minutes. We're going to let it sit for about 20 minutes. You just have to be patient. You want to allow the sauce to kind of settle and re-thicken. If you try to cut into it right when it comes out of the oven, it's all going to kind of fall apart and not hold its layers. So just try to be patient and cut into it after it's had time to settle a bit.
And we have a question.
Great.
Gail wants to know, have you ever added sage to this recipe, and would that be good?
No, but that would be delicious. I think butternut and sage are a match made in heaven. That's a great idea. I like the way you're thinking. And that would take this like fall times 10. That flavor and that aroma would really kick this into high seasonal gear. Okay, so this serves 6. We've got these nice Oh, look at that. Isn't that pretty? Nice layers here. The egg sort of sets up. I'm going to do 2 corner pieces because I think, you know, in the studio, we're probably going to dig into this. I like a corner piece. Oops. So the egg sort of sets everything up. You pair this with a nice roasted vegetable or a salad, and you have a wonderful lower carb version of lasagna that's perfect for fall. So each slice of this lasagna has only 17 grams of carbohydrates. If you were going with a traditional pasta-based lasagna, nothing wrong with that. I love that. It's super comforting. You're going to have a minimum of probably 40 grams of carbs. So this is a much lower carb option. Gives you lots of veggies in each serving. So there you go. It's a great idea. Try to make this during the fall when butternut's at its peak season. Thank you so much for joining today. I hope you learned a great recipe that you want to try. I hope you learned some tips that you can put to use in your kitchen. If you're watching on Facebook, please like and share this video. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe so you'll get notifications when we go live. Thank you so much. I'll see you next week.